What's your Shadow Legends? Welcome to the video. Oh, we're doing it again, guys. We're doing it again, but before we do whatever we're doing again, send us some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need it out there today. So today, or actually I should say a couple months ago, I put out a video that a lot of people loved. I was on it. You never know when you put out content here on the channel, what people actually respond to, want to see more of, or just think is a total dud. I've gone into a video thinking it was going to be a home run and nobody cares or watches or does anything, and then vice versa. And that happened with one team, one epic team that could face every single hard mode dungeon and win and beat it, right? Using the same 5 epic champions with no like team setups, just flat out full auto, right? So I did it with 5 champions. In case you missed the first video in this episode, I will unveil my first 5 epics, and then we have 5 more to share with you guys today. Now, this is not only about this specific team, but also about why I like these champions so much, right? It gives me an excuse to talk about all of them and also show the builds. So last episode, it was Frenzy the Cackler, it was Fat Man, Farrakhan the Fat, it was Ayala Lifebraid, Morag, Bronzelock, and Ugo. Those are the 5. But I found another 5, and you guys can argue which combo is better, and I've actually saved one of my favorite champions for the next combo, I think. If I want to do a third version of this video, let me know in the comments below. So I have not used Tagore yet.
I'm right here.
He's going to be my little cheat code there. I also haven't used Ursula. I'm trying to think of like the best options out there in terms of support and revive, excuse me, that I haven't used yet. So maybe in episode 3, we can feature those champions.
Yeah, sure.
Can you people not see me?
The lineup for today, without further ado, guys, is number 1, he's going to be our debuffer extraordinaire. I love this champion so much. He's sort of old school, maybe 3 or 4 years old in the game, and he's not a high elf. He's a banner lord. It is none other than Stag Knight. Yeah, that's right. Stag Knight looks freaking amazing. He's got the antlers. He's got the white armor. He's got the stag. He's got the knight. What more do you want? He's so good, man. I love this guy, not just because of his abilities, which are amazing, but his base stats. He's super fast at 107 speed. He's super tanky at 21k base HP. He's got the big version of increased speed at a reliable land rate on each hit of his A1, and then he's got an AoE decreased defense and decreased attack on a 3-turn cooldown. It actually struck me that because I'm using Stag Knight, I haven't used Deacon Armstrong either in this series, so he'll probably be featured in episode 3. But yeah, Stag Knight, I like him even over Deacon. Not to say he's better or anything, but like I like that he's very tanky, so I could throw him in like a shield or a bolster set if I want to, and I can also provide the decreased attack on the same ability of that decreased defense. All right, so Stag Knight's going to be built with a little bit of damage. I'll show you all the builds in a moment. But number 2 is going to be our other main DPS on the squad. It's going to be Skrank. Skrank, we just did a whole video spotlight on Skrank. I shared why I think he's the best HP burner out of every epic inside the entire game. He's got it on an AoE right here, 3-turn cooldown, filling his turn meter, escalating his damage off of his passive, as well as a hard-hitting sup on blood on his A2 ability. He's going to be our nuker and our burner all wrapped into one.
Why do you need us?
All right, we need an increased speed champion on the team. We also need a little bit of control because I have to think about all 4 of the hard dungeons here, right? So I need the burn for Spider especially and for Ice Golem, but I need somebody with freeze and or a lot of multi-hitters. There's a lot of good options out there. Obviously, there's Mist Rider Dathi, there's Neldor, but I'm going with none other than Cryodin the Blue. He looks amazing. He is amazing. He's going to be both my increased speed champion, a little bit of turn meter boost there as well on a 3-turn cooldown when booked, but he's also going to be my wave control champion, right? This team, some of those waves, they're going to hit hard. I need somebody to help CC those enemies so that we don't have to take all that damage because my team is very weak when it comes to healing. That's the big downfall of this team. I don't really have any healers on the squad for the most part. But he's got a triple hitter on his A1 too that's going to help me tremendously, plus the freeze against Fire Knight. How else am I going to beat Fire Knight hard unless I have a champion like Cryodin the Blue on the team? Last time we had Farrakhan the Fat and Morag Bronzelock, so we had 2 ally attackers, which helped us out a lot. Now we only have one, and I guess we'll get to him next on the list. Our ally attacker on this team, because we really need one. Very challenging to beat Fire Knight hard without at least one ally attacker, so we had to put one on this squad. He'll help us out in other areas as well, though, and his Catacomb Counselor. For my money, he's the third best ally attacker out of every epic in the game. Now, number 1, Farrakhan the Fat, and number 2, Morag Bronzelock, were used on my first team, so I guess Lady Atessa will be in episode number 3 of this series.
I am having a very bad day.
But Army of Death has 3 random allies attacking a single enemy. He also has a triple hitter on his Ghoulish Feeding, which is very nice, and a self-heal, which will help keep him alive in areas like the Ice Golem. Triple hitter will be very nice against the Fire Knight, although he only does have a single target hitter on his A1. Okay, so that's Catacomb Counselor. And then last on the list, I need a reviver. But you know what? I need a little bit more than just a revive. So I decided to go, instead of one of those beast mode AoE revivers that we already discussed, I decided to go with Ryan the Conjurer. Now, Ryan looks amazing. She's a Doom Tower normal champion. She does have a single target hitter, or a single hitter, excuse me, on the A1, which is a bummer. We really need a lot of hits for Fire Knight. But I love the Sweeping Dismissal on my reviver, right? She has a mediocre single target revive, but it's there when we need it, and we certainly will. But with Sweeping Dismissal, paired with a Stag Knight, now I have an AoE buff remover, kind of set the table for Cryoden as well, remove block debuff so we can put the freeze down there. But removing buffs on a 3-turn cooldown, and the big version of Weaken. So with this team between Skrank and Stag Knight doing all that damage, and Cryoden as well doing some damage himself, she's just going to set the table beautifully with the decreased defense from Stag Knight and the Weaken and the buff removal from Ryan the Conjurer. So I'm trying to go a little bit more aggressive maybe than we did last time with this team. So there it is. Ryan the Conjurer, Cryoden in the blue, Skrank, Stag Knight, and Catacomb Counselor. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the builds. Now, obviously, I'm using pretty dang good gear here. Not the best on the account or anything like that, but good nonetheless. Catacomb Counselor, really quick. I put him in Relentless because I want to get back to that ally attack as soon as humanly possible, and the A2 for Fire Knight as well. So Relentless is going to ensure extra turns, a little bit of RNG involved, but after that, I went all survivability because the thing about Catacomb Counselor is he's squishy. 14k HP, 914 on the defense, 92 speed. Oh, his base stats are atrocious, but he does hit hard at 1454 with decent multipliers. I threw him in an Immortal and a Relentless. I went flat stat where I could find it, defense, HP, defense, where I could find anything to keep this dude alive. I went crit rate on the gauntlets, HP percentage, sacrificing some damage certainly on the chest. I put him in freaking Immortal, like I said, a little bit of heal helps. I was able to get the HP all the way up to 62k, which isn't bad considering he's pretty fast. He's not perfectly crit capped, but it gets the job done. He's the only champion I don't have masteries on either.
It's an unfair game.
So there's that. Stag Knight, those are the masteries. The build is, I alluded to it earlier, but I wanted somebody in a bolster set, and even though it makes more sense, you know, naturally to have my reviver in a bolster set on Ryan, I decided I would throw on Stag Knight. I put him in a 4-piece feral in a bolster, so yeah, he's definitely the best geared on the 5-person team. I have crit rate on the gauntlets for a little bit of damage, and then I have well, not just survivability, but get more shield out of the bolster. Hard to make this guy have enough accuracy, deal enough damage, and have enough HP so that it's worth the bolster set, but I tried to thread the needle as much as I could, and I got him with almost 80k, 278, 97, 198 crit rate, crit damage, fast with a lot of accuracy. I already showed you the masteries. Crowd in the blue, there is his masteries, Giant Slayer as a tier 6 mastery. We have him, again, total stats here, fast, 288, not perfectly crit capped, but I'd rather survivability and getting the freeze done, or landed. So 413 on the accuracy, 288 on the speed, super fast. I want him to get back to more A1 abilities, but more A2 abilities for that matter, and the increased speed and the turn meter fill on his A3. So I want him nice and fast. I put him in double perception, a speed, and a 2-piece pinpoint. Really quickly on the gear here, we have accuracy, crit damage, and HP. We have speed on the boots, HP percentage on the chest, and crit damage on the gauntlets. Skrank Triple perception gear in Skrank, are on Skrank, 522 on the accuracy, 230 on the speed. He's our nuker as well, so a lot of attacks, some decent survivability, 101 in 254. We have speed on the boots, we have attack percentage on the chest, we have crit damage on the gauntlets with HP, crit damage, and accuracy as the main stats on the accessories. Still a little bit of room to min-max there with the glyphs. Ryan the Conjurer is in Stone Skin in Perception. Stone Skin not going to be ideal for PvE, which is where this video is going to take place here, hard mode dungeons, but it's the build I already had on Ryan, and I thought to myself, you know, it's not that bad. There's enough survivability here. I'd like a little bit more, but 6,400 with all that defense, 4,400 is going to be good enough. She's fast enough, and she has enough accuracy, certainly, to go ahead and land the weaken and remove buffs off the A2 ability. So that is the squad, guys. Let's get to the dungeons. Let's start out easy, guys. We're going to go against Void affinities. That way we don't have to worry about it. So we're going to start with a Dragon dungeon, which is, let's be real, it's the easiest dungeon, right? Come on. I don't know. I guess Spider can be easy, like if you have all the necessary pieces, but obviously the answer is Dragon's Lair. And man, you're already seeing the value of Crowd in the blue, freezes everybody and then just buys time for everybody else. We haven't even really been hit because of that amazing CC, right? And I love, you're already seeing the damage potential of this team is quite a bit more than last team. We really had Frenzy the Cackler, so I suspect these times compared to the last video's times will be a little bit faster as well. Saying that 42 seconds. Can we get that last hit down? All right, there we go. All right, second wave, we got some Eurogrims, we got a Cardinal, we got a Cold Heart on this wave. That weaken goes in from Ryan the Conjurer, you gotta love it. There's no cleanse or anything on this team, nothing to worry about there. Able to, again, CC everybody, debuff everybody with Stag Knight, and now it's gonna be time to unleash. There it is. Unleash the havoc with Skrank's A3 ability, burning everybody and killing them in the meantime. Guys, I'll come back to you guys when we get to the Dragon. All right, guys, here we go against the Dragon. All right, so this is where things get a little bit tricky, right? A lot of damage off this Dragon. We don't have a cleanser on the team, so we don't have a block debuffs. Not that it will help, obviously, against the poisons, but just as a note everywhere, we don't have block debuffs like we did when we had Ayla Life Braid on the team. I'm already thinking about, you know, who would I use for block debuffs? Maybe an Achek the Wenderm would fit very nicely in a video like this. Maybe a Mausoleum Mage would fit very nicely in a video like this. Odds are at least one of those champions will be seen in the next video. You're already seeing the power of this team, man. Damage is just being dished out by everybody here. And even though several of the champions outside of Skrank were not crit capped, we're still going to have no problems with damage with this team. Even Catacomb Counselor was dishing out some serious damage that I saw off of his first few attacks. Here comes an ally attack. I really wish I had a leech or something on this team as well. Even with Crowd in the blue, you can see he's going to get picked on as the lowest HP champion on the team. Maybe on Criden we could put a little like old school lifesteal type gear on him, or Bloodthirst. Skrank with 2.9 million, Catacomb Counselor with 1 million, Stag Knight with 2 million. Stag Knight can smack, huh? Criden with 1.3, and then Ryan, well, just doing what she's gonna do. It's not gonna show up on the stat sheet.
I'm supposed to be resting.
All right, next up, Spider. All right, guys, here we go. Spider hard. Let's see how this team does. Let's see. We should have no problem here at all, right? We go in with the A3 first from Crowd in the blue. We're gonna burn these guys almost immediately. Debuff. Now we got the weaken in there. Just gotta be careful they don't take too much damage and I'll get burnt down. All right, here we go. Tick, tick, tick. Let's get those burns on that mother spider. Probably going to be a couple rotations here. But man, just enough damage to not kill anybody and get all those burns ticking off of the spider mother, right? Okay, there we go. Looking pretty good here to start things out, man. Gosh. All right, all right. Just cycling through our abilities, doing some really nice damage too, even on the A1s. Come back to the A3, get the blessing in the blue. It's okay. We lose our burner. No big deal. That's why we have a reviver on the team, right? Just wanted to make sure she could take those hits. That was my only thing I was kind of nervous of, right? But now with the spider abilities on cooldown, we'll have enough time to pick up Skrank, reapply his burn. I think he has it up right now. Nice ally attack, chipping in some more damage too. You know, Eric, you can see all those Giant Slayer procs as well, definitely helping out. A big hard-hitting A1. We don't even have the burns up yet, but man, that damage is definitely stacking up, and we still have plenty of time here on these turns. Okay, to land the burn and then just take the spider down. Man, Skrank is so freaking good, but really so is the entire team, right? I mean, really, really good squad here. Again, Skrank putting out most of the damage there with all those burns. Let's go into Fire Knight, guys. It's time for Fire Knight. Let's see how we do in the castle. All right, guys, I'm a little bit worried about the Fire Knight team. I'm not going to lie. We really had to put Cryoden mainly just for this specific dungeon. Now, there's other champions we could have used, but I love that Cryoden has that freeze that's helping us out in this wave content as well, which I mentioned earlier, right? We could have certainly used a, like I said, Neldor in that role. We could have went with Lady Atessa and gone double ally attackers. We could have went with Fenshi, who's a really good Fire Knight specialist. He was actually somebody I had in consideration, but I just think that Cryoden, nobody beats him in terms of everything that he can bring to help us out in every dungeon. I'm gonna come back to you guys when we get to the Fire Knight. Be right back. All right, guys. I don't know how this is gonna go because I felt like we used all of our best abilities without A1 cycling, but the challenge here was to keep it on auto, right? Now, we did go in with an ally attack on this first shield, so we're going to easily get that shield down. How long can we keep it down? You'll see that Cryoden with the blue actually went with his A3, which we definitely need, but getting that freeze down like right now would have been really beneficial as well. We do get a little bit of freeze. Did we get a resist there, or did I just not notice? Either way, everybody is still looking pretty good on our team, and we're already back to that ally attack. I didn't notice, excuse me, if we got a relentless proc, but it seemed like, man, look at him go, dude. Look at Catacomb Counselor. Look at his damage, look at his extra turns. He might get back to an ally attack right now, which is totally fine if we ally attack with a shield down because we have that freeze from Cryoden on his A1 ability. And we do get there again. He didn't land the freeze, though, unfortunately. He goes back with the Blessing of the Blue. But look at that HP left of the Fire Knight, man. We could have probably tackled even harder stages of the Fire Knight. This team made it look easy. And look at that time, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. Dang. Not bad. Skrank with 1.9. Catacomb with the 900,000. Not bad for a single target champion. Stag with 1.4 million. Cryoden with 921. All right, guys, let's go to the Ice Golem. All right, guys, here we go. It's Ice Golem hard. You already know the team. I don't need to tell you. Let's see how fast we can take care of this first wave. Stag Knight goes in there. Stag Knight in the bolster set. I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it, right? This game's all about getting extra utility out of every champion that you possibly can, right? Thinking about unorthodox sets, we're talking about, you know, toxic sets and frost sets. They all have their space, albeit somewhat niche inside the game. So I'd encourage all you guys out there, especially new players, to think outside the box, think about some of these unpopular sets and how you can get some extra utility out of them for your team. I'll come back to you guys when we get to the Ice Golem. All right, guys, here we go at the Ice Golem. So I like this team a lot. I don't really have a ton of resist on anybody. I think Catacomb Counselor has a resist banner on, so maybe he'll resist some debuffs. The nice thing about this team is I kind of cheated, and you guys can do the same thing as well. That building Stag Knight so tanky in a regen or a bolster set is probably going to allow him just with War Master, especially if he has enough resistance, where you can see he's resisting a little bit right now. It's going to allow Stag Knight to basically solo the Ice Golem worst case scenario, you know? But so far, so good. Let's see how we do here. And there we have it, guys. So my man Stag Knight putting in the damage there at 5.4 million. And well, you can see the rest of the results before your very eyes. So there it is, guys. 2 videos on 10 now of my favorite epic champions that actually go really well when all paired together, covering a lot of the major roles that you want to build your teams with. Let me know if you have any epics so I can make a 3rd episode in the comments below, featuring some more amazing epics who can tackle hard dungeons using the same team of 5. So again, excluding the first video's lineup and this video lineup, who do you guys think I should include for episode 3? Thanks for watching until the end, and as always, take care, guys.